Hello and welcome. My name is Shoshana, and today we're going to do a pick a pile reading. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The reading title is What is Your Inner Child Trying to Tell You? Many times we dismiss the inner child. We ignore the inner child. We even punish and abuse the inner child. And the inner child has a lot to say today. I'm very excited to do this reading. And it's funny because this is actually my favorite type of readings to do for people. These are my favorite types of healings that I like to do with people. I like to work with the inner child. My name is Shoshana. I only work with medicine cards, positive cards, career oracle cards. I do not use tarot. I do not channel. I do not accept downloads. I am simply a scanner and diagnostics provider. I am so happy to be doing my favorite kind of energy work today, which is working with the inner child. Many people recommend working with the higher self. Yeah, you will find many people, groups that recommend working with the higher self, and I respect people's different opinions. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but this is a safe place, and this is my safe place where I share my opinions. And I do not recommend working with the higher self. I recommend working with the inner child because it is always the inner child that is most connected to source and your true spirit, your true soul. Let's get started, shall we? So, these are our piles. Let's make sure that it's recording. And we're going to be working with our medicine deck here. I'm excited and I just want to jump in like a child. And I also have my little poker cards to deal with complex situations. Okay, so let's do, and not all piles are going to get everything, okay? It really depends on the energy and what is required for each pile. So let's just get situated here. Let's get situated and make some space because I'm going to have to remove these piles so that we have space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is pile card 1, the spiritual worker. Those who chose these beautiful pink glittery buttons that I associated with love. You have to have a lot of love in your soul to be a spiritual worker. And then we have the neon druzzy for pile 2 for those who chose the people skill pineapple, the people skill pineapple, the social butterflies. Then we have the navy druzzy for pile 3 for those who chose the moving horse. And the fast changing bunny with the turquoise glitter button. And then we have the independent cat, pile 5. As you can see, we did 5 piles today because I wanted to acknowledge everyone's individual inner child, and I thought that 5 piles would be a wonderful way to do that. And then we have these little kitty cat looking eyes that are pile 5. Okay, so I'm gonna move them out of the way so we have room. How am I gonna do this? Scooch them over a little bit more. I hope everybody's doing well today. Now, these are just collective readings, okay? Um, these are just collective readings, and I'm going to go ahead and turn them over so I know which pile we're on because I don't want to get confused with so many piles. Okay, pile 1, are you ready? So, there's just so much I want to say, and it's like all of these piles have a hard time. Sorry, I have to adjust my mic. A lot of these piles, as I talk, there's definitely going to be something in common with all the piles, right? It feels like everyone here has spent their entire life trying to express themselves and not knowing how and not finding the words, not being able to articulate yourself, not able to defend yourself, not able to guard yourself, not able to protect yourself, usually coming from parents that did a lousy job protecting you emotionally and spiritually, a lousy job protecting you energetically. A lot of people in these piles will be, I almost want to say, people that your parents didn't deserve. So there's also this sense of finally, like let's say somebody asks you, "Hi, how are you doing?" It takes you a long time to figure out how you're doing. You haven't even figured that out yourself. So you might, I can't see the timer on here. Okay, there it is. So you take time, you're just kind of mumbling inside of your head, trying to figure out how you actually feel so that you can respond. And by the time you find the words to say how you feel, the person is already asking you a different question. So you don't say nothing at all. That is the energy that I'm getting for all of the piles today. Welcome. Pile 1, the spiritual worker. What is out of balance for you? What is out of balance for the spiritual worker? We have the old man sorcerer of the north is not finding resolutions, being confused, being worried, thinking of the worst case scenario, pile 1. Your inner child is trying to tell you to not be like your parents. Don't be like those people who engraved toxicity into your mind from an infant age. You're going to have to find a way to carve and scoop out and off your soul these barnacles that your parents or upbringing created, where you think of the worst case scenario. And the reason why the resolutions are not coming, pile one, is because you're worried. And when you are worried, there's no room for miracles because you are worried. And it's very important for you to work on relief, working on releasing your hypertension. Simply diagnosing the issue makes the issue dissipate, disintegrate, delete, erase, clear. Okay, let's move on. Pile one. And you already are feeling a sensation of smiling because some weight popped out. I suggest that you work with Palo Santo. Every time you feel negative emotions, turn on some Palo Santo. Palosanto will relieve you of that negativity, not only emotionally, but physically remove it from your space where it dissipates. What is the action that you need to take right now is picking up your identity, Sometimes in life we drop our identity. If you consider yourself a targeted one, a chosen one, a light bearer, or maybe none of those things, there was a point in your life in the past 6 to 8 months where you dropped your staff, and it's important for you to pick your staff back up. Pick up your identity, pick up your purpose again. Sometimes in life we give up. We are dealing with so much pain. We don't want to be light bearers anymore. Genuine light bearers, not false light bearers. So you know your identity. Some people have identity crisis. You have a resentment, rebellion against your own identity, where you just don't want to pick it up. You want it on the floor because you feel empty and you don't understand how you're being brought into these missions with nothing. At times it feels like nothing, and even if you are surrounded by people, they do not speak your language. So ultimately you have to work on yourself. You know, sometimes there's a sense of community and sometimes there is not. When there is a sense of community, take advantage of that because it's very good for your mental health. Whenever there is a circle, a social gathering. But if there is no opportunity to be in a social gathering, or you feel like nobody is listening to you, it means that you're not meant to be talking to them. It means that you need to turn inward. Sometimes we're meant to turn outward, and sometimes we're meant to turn inward. And this is a time where pile one needs to turn inward and protect your altar. You are the sacred altar. Your uterus is the altar. The tools that you have, pile one, is the dualistic abilities. There's a lot of Gemini energy here as well. There's a lot of dualistic. You have the ability to embody both the feminine and masculine energies equally, depending on how and when you need them. And that is your tool to sustain an alignment within yourself so that you feel stronger to the point where you no longer need to rely on external validation, I want to say. Okay, and let's go ahead and do, I'm going to move these out of the way. An oracle for you. So, pile one, what your inner child is trying to tell you is to protect yourself. Protect yourself from everyone. Sometimes there are people who don't get targeted at all because they don't have gifts. And I'm not talking about physical gifts. I'm talking about spiritual gifts. People who don't have spiritual gifts do not get targeted because they just don't. It's always the people who have spiritual gifts or talent at serving the Christ-like consciousness community that get targeted the most, that get attacked the most by so many different kinds of things that people don't even understand. There are things you can't even put into words. So your inner child wants you to protect your gifts, protect your spiritual gifts, protect your energy, treat your body and your energy, your soul, mind, body, and spirit as if it is sacred, because it is. You are uncovering new talents that will land you new work and a better position. You could get more money with the deal as well. So these spiritual gifts will and are capable of manifesting into physical wealth. Thank you so much for watching pile one. Let's move on to pile two. Okay, pile two. You have very different energy than the first pile. What is out of balance for the pineapple? Social skill butterfly people. Social butterfly people skills people. That's how that looks. Look at those pretty colors. So from a very young age, pile two, you haven't had an issue expressing yourself. If anything, you got in trouble for expressing yourself too much or not filtering yourself. So you experienced a lot of confusion at a young age of why you had to filter yourself, why adults have to white lie, why can you not be honest as a child? And you just never understood that because it's true. It is true. Think about it. We are taught to white lie. If you go to Harvard, a university, and you go to law school, what do they teach you? They teach you how to get away with crime legally. They teach you how to legally rob people. They teach you how to legally defend criminals. Let's not sugarcoat things now. And you never understood that. You always asked your mother, well, why do we have to white lie? Why can't I tell that lady how I really feel? Why can't I stick my tongue out at that boy who's being mean to me? You never understood the whole concept of filtering. And even in the physical world, you might also really hate filters and people who use them. So because of that, it has attracted a lot of romantic candidates. If you are a female, males are really attracted to pile two because you're so raw and honest, and men really like that. Men have sensory systems and psychic abilities just like the women do, and they can sense when the female is lying. And a lot of males date or go through a lot of women in their love life that are liars, compulsive liars, cheating liars. And the man learns how to sense a lie by dating women who are cheating liars. And then they meet pile two, and they're like, wow, this is the first time that I've met somebody who's really honest and inside out about their emotions, their feelings, their desires. If this does not resonate with you, feel free to choose another pile. These are just collective readings. And just because I say a male or a female, it goes both ways, right? So, what is out of balance for pile two? Pile two, your inner child is trying to tell you that you need to protect yourself sexually. You get taken advantage sexually. So, because you are so honest, you tend to get a lot of romantic attention. And it backfires to the point where it puts you in danger. Whenever you have an intimate exchange with somebody, their energy stays around you for about 8 months. For about 8 months, someone's intimate energy will linger around your aura. And you just, oh goodness, there's certain things that I want to say, but I don't know if I should. Um, sometimes there's certain things that are just common sense that involve a lot of promiscuity. Anywho, what is out of balance for pile two is needing to move on from some situation. Move on. This is the blizzard wind. What in your life needs to be blown away to another direction? What is the action that you need to take? Do you have a lot of clutter in your house? Are you a hoarder by any chance? A long time ago, in indigenous tradition, somebody's wealth was not measured by what they had or have, but by how much they gave away. Usually, when this card comes up, especially in the position of action, it's suggesting that you have a spring cleaning and you get rid of old, negative, cursed energy items from your household. Go through the attic, go through the garage, go through the closet, under the bed. Remove things that don't make you feel good. Remove things with heavy, stale energy. Remove things that have X energy. If there's something of value that someone can use, you can sell it on OfferUp or you can give it away. As you clear things from your home, you clear things psychologically. And when you clear things psychologically, you heal the inner child. The inner child feels overwhelmed by your promiscuous life. Your inner child feels endangered when you put them through that. There's a safety that your inner child is missing. Your tool to get away from a toxic lifestyle is your own talent, your own skills, the bright sun. What are you really talented at? What are you really gifted at? That's what you need to be doing instead of giving your attention to people who just want to take from you. There's people out there that just want to take, and not give. They just want to take from your sweetness and give you absolutely nothing in return. And those are the people that you need to block out. In order for your inner child to feel more safe. When you see, I told you, I know I'm not tripping. I got distracted, now I have to turn it over. My Lord. When we nourish and get grounded enough to listen to the inner child, we start to feel better because the inner child is being acknowledged. And when you acknowledge the inner child's emotions, it unlocks and releases all these things within you that need to be unlocked and released so that you can work properly. A lot of times we hold trauma, holds all this tension, clenches all this tension that comes from trauma that we have to release. Okay, so back to real passion, which you have been allowing too many distractions to get in the way of your true purpose. You know what your true purpose is. It's what you're talented at that um, other people are not. We have different unique abilities. And if you're talented in a certain area that others are not, but you are, it means that that's what you're supposed to be doing, usually, if it makes you happy to continue doing so. Stop wasting time in dead end jobs and find your true passion. It's fine to experiment, but don't settle for less than you truly deserve. Okay, I hope that helps. Let's move on to pile 3. For those of you who chose the moving horse, for those of you who chose this navy blue, beautiful, dressy button, a lot of you chose it because the horse is your spirit animal, didn't you? Okay, so for those of you who chose pile 3, Your inner child. You know what? I feel like I should put the cards back because there's these medicine cards that can be used for a different deck. Oops. Oh, I don't know where that came from. Where did that come from? Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, right. So, pile 3. I'm trying to tune into your energy to see what the collective similarity is. Okay, so what I'm picking up is that you never got the attention that you deserved, okay? You were most likely neglected emotionally by either both parents or one of your parents, or one of your parents died at a really young age. You just did not get the adequate attention, survival skills, emotional skills, supportive skills, even reading. I feel like a lot of you didn't even get read to, and you really enjoyed watching preschool shows because the preschool shows gave you what your parents could not even fathom to give you. So you dealt with a lot of emotional neglect to the point where at your teenage stage you became dark, emo, hung out with that kind of crowd or something equivalent to that, or you could have dealt with, I don't even want to say the word because it's a triggering word. I'm just going to say rebels, okay? You could have been associated with a lot of rebels because you had the ability to see the good in people. Unfortunately, because you are infused with so much natural, genuine soul light, you saw the light in the nastiest people, the ugliest, darkest demons. You thought were just any other entity. There was a time in your life where you judged all entities equally, and they took advantage of that because you didn't know any better. Nobody ever told you, nobody ever explained it to you. You had to learn the hard way your entire life. You had to learn the hard way because you came from parents that didn't know Jack Rabbit. So, what is out of balance for you? And your relationship with your inner child is very good. Out of all the piles, I feel like pile 3 is going to be the one who has the healthiest interaction with their inner child from all the other piles. That doesn't mean that you don't mistreat it sometimes, because you do. Sometimes you will purposely punish your inner child and abuse it on purpose, sometimes on accident, and then you're like, oh my God, why did I do that? So that's what we're going to talk about. The spiritual interference. And you just clear it, you clear it, you clear it, and you do a healing. Whenever you purposefully or intentionally do harm, I wasn't done focusing. harm on the inner child, you have to do a clearing on why that happened. Clear the interference on why there was harm done to the inner child. And then you have to do a healing for the inner child for having to experience it, and then another healing for undoing it. It has to be like a cancel, cancel, clearing, clearing, healing, healing for one harm done to the inner child. So, what is out of balance? Here it is. This is what is out of balance for pile 2. I'm sorry, pile 3. My little first buttons here got you're always having to be there for everyone else, and you're so tired of it. Emotionally, spiritually, physically, you feel like you're, DEAD inside. You are absolutely exhausted from carrying the generational burden, the generational baggage, the generational debt, having to break it, having resentment over ancestors, having resentment against loved ones who passed on because they couldn't break these chains that you think are so easy to break. And you're like, my God, you couldn't break them? You couldn't break them this whole freaking time. Now I have to deal with it. I and my children, I and my future generations have to deal with this bull crap because my ancestors could not break all those generational seas. There's just, but at the same time, there is unconditional love. You love your loved ones. You love the people who depend on you. It's out of love, but physically, there is nothing. There's no energy there. You're running on zero all the time. And you keep on going, and you're like, well, if I'm supposed to live this life on a blinking zero, like the sim game, blinking on red zero, what happens to the sim when the sim is hungry, has no social attention, no love, no nourishment? They sit in the corner and they lose their mind. It's not your fault. It's other people. Other people just throw their burdens on you, for Christ's sakes. What is the action that you need to take? Is meditating more. Meditating more and avoiding this drama as much as you can. Avoiding phone calls, white lying. I honestly suggest white lying to family members so that they will leave you alone and let you come up with resolutions. Like, there's people here that just watch you struggle, and they're living in a castle with 5 horses and carriages. And you're over here and you don't even have a carriage, or you don't even have horses. You don't have anything. You're just picking up twigs along the way that people leave behind. It's unbelievable. It's like subconsciously it's still going on. There's a little improvement, but that improvement is only there because of guilt and shame eating somebody alive. The tool that you have to sustain an alignment is a vision, a psychic vision gained through meditation or through going outdoors to a safe outdoor area to camp. Be careful when you're camping. It's really dangerous to camp nowadays, but if you find a safe camp, you don't have to stay all night to get a vision. You can get that vision at sunset and then drive home. You do not have to spend the night when you go camping, people. You can just have a picnic camp and then come back home, because the things that are out there, the reason why it's not safe to camp is because of CERN. CERN. They're the reasons why um, you can't go camping at night anymore, because they've unleashed all kinds of freaking portals that we never voted for. We never voted to spend all of our resources on all of their diabolical agendas. We rebuke them. We rebuke them. My Lord. Money matters. Money matters a lot now. Watch your expenses and save up for the future. You need to be prepared for the unexpected. You don't want to go through a dangerous situation again. You want to make sure that never happens. So you have to make preventative measures and protect your inner child financially. Offerings. You will be offered a new position or investment opportunity. Think about it and research it carefully before accepting. So, what is your inner child trying to tell you is to calm down and stop carrying everybody's burdens. Take care of yourself. Stretch. Don't sit too long. If you have to sit to work, sit to research, get up. Dance for one song. Touch your toes. Throw your leg, put it on the wall. Throw up your leg, put it on the bed frame, headboard. Throw it up there, Do some hip movements. When you release trauma with hip movements. Put on some crazy, wacky music, and get freaky with the mirror. Shake that bum, you know, release all that trauma. The inner child here is trying to tell you that you need to be careful with every single move that you make, because you're so gifted. You're constantly targeted. I'm sorry to have to give you such a bleak reading, but your inner child wants you to stop taking unnecessary burdens and only take the responsibilities that are yours. Only be there for the people that really deserve it. Only be there for the people that feel safe to be there for, which is your immediate safe family. And this is definitely not a time to be shopping for things that you don't need. When you go shopping, ask yourself, is it a want or is it a need? A lot of changes are going to be happening for you. You're going to be moving and you're going to be placed in a town through your own research and discernment that is going to better serve how you and your household is elevating together. Thank you for watching. Let's move on to pile 4. For those of you who chose the fast changing bunny rabbit and the turquoise glitter. Let's go ahead and begin with your reading. And I'm going to put all these back just in case they want to come back out. And let's scooch you over. Scooch, scooch. Okay, 444. Does that have a significance to you? I'm at 44 minutes and I just said 4 for no reason. Why did I have to repeat it? Okay. What is your inner child trying to tell you, pile 4? What is out of balance for pile 4? Okay, so you also have the blizzard wind. What in your life do you need to move away from? What situation has to go the distance? What has to move? What has to relocate to another country? That is what is out of balance is stagnation. Stagnation is toxic, and stagnation creates interference. What is the action that needs to be taken? We have social consciousness. Social consciousness. So what it seems like you're dealing with political oppression, social oppression, and you need to relocate to a safer country. And what is the tool? We have 2 cards. We have these 2 here. We have meditating, and we have the sacred pipe, which represents connecting with source and having a dialogue about the movement. We cannot move on impulse. We have to move with discernment like a deer. Every step that we take, is it guided by source or is it guided by our own ego? Is it guided by our own fear? Is it guided by our own worry? Is it guided by our own limited beliefs? There's a move that you're going to have to take, and you're going to need to do a lot of grounding and a lot of meditating to figure out where you're going to move, a lot of researching. And whenever you do, you're going to have to avoid naysayers. Naysayers and the opposing force is going to want to come and rain all over your parade and rain all over your papers. And if you keep this simple, if you keep your move very simple, very discerning, and very guided by God, every step that you take, every decision that you take, you'll be able to succeed in relocating where it is that you want to relocate. However, I feel like there's a blockage, so we're going to pull. You're the first pile where I need to pull a poker card to see why there's a blockage in this move. I honestly feel like the blockage is a lie. I feel like Google and anything similar has this agenda to portray the worst or misconceptions or to portray something that it's not through it. So you might have a lot of fear over a certain situation that may not even exist. Moving is not as difficult as it seems if you have the funds, right? If you have the funds. Some say that you don't need that much funds. I kind of disagree with that. I think that you do need the funds. And once you have them, you can get temporary residency and then invest on property in another country that will actually allow you to own something, as opposed to the country that you're probably living in now that is not letting you own anything and is just taking your money and taking the community's resources for things that we did not consent to. It's very natural. Natural. It's part of nature. It's normal to migrate. We are supposed to migrate. We are very similar to animals and birds that migrate. They go to warmer weather. They move around. They don't keep their nest in the same place. It's okay if you have not found your forever home. It's okay if you haven't found where to call home, because if you think about it, that doesn't really exist. What is home? What is home? What is safety? What is our forever home? If you really think about it, it doesn't exist. One day we're going to pass on, and it's most likely going to belong to somebody else. So is it really our forever home? It's more about what's going on underneath and making peace with the fact that humans are similar to animals in the aspect of migration. We are meant to move around. We are meant to travel. And we're not really meant to stay in the same place. Not to say that you can't. If you have the luxury of living on land that your ancestors have lived in for many, many generations, that's amazing. But it's very rare nowadays. It's very, very rare nowadays. And I was actually one of those people who wanted my forever home. And I got really depressed about it. And then I realized, you know what? That doesn't exist. I'm always gonna be moving. I'm always gonna move. I feel like I'm always going to be moving, and maybe one day I won't be moving so much, but for now, if that's what the Lord wants for me to be moving around, then that's what I'm gonna be doing, and that's why I haven't gotten any pets. You know, I wish that I could get all kinds of pets, a whole farm of animals, but I don't want to because I don't think that it's fair to the soul of the animal if I have to travel so much and maybe not even be able to keep the animal, you know. So let's go back to your inner child. Your inner child wants to feel settled. It wants you to get back to feeling settled in your own body. So even if there's chaos going on externally, your inner child wants you to stop bringing external chaos inward to your internal temple, because your internal temple is where the inner child is located. And when you bring that out, external chaos and drama and poison inward, it cripples your entire body and then starts to manifest in physical health issues. So your inner child is trying to tell you, look, I know you are dealing with A, B, and C, but can you leave it outside? Can you just leave it? And when you deal with me, the inner child, I want you to feel settled and relaxed and hold me. And figure out how to do that. And it can be as simple as calming yourself down and focus on your breathing. Separate the two things. Separate the external traffic with the inward calm. They are two different things. They cannot be blended. They need to be separated. When you wake up in the morning, a lot of times you have very difficult emotions and sickness and anxiety that take place in the morning, and that's because of interference. Interference loves to target people while we sleep, and then we wake up and we feel like crap, right? So what you need to do when that happens is you wake up in the morning. If your thoughts are positive, you say, "Thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, Source. I'm awake. I'm breathing. I have a roof over my head. I have tea in the cupboard. Thank you. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling motivated. I'm feeling calm. Thank you." You open the window, get some fresh air, and you have a wonderful day. You are able to rely on your magnificent brain, right? However, on some days we feel really bad. When you feel really bad in the morning and you're feeling a stream of negative thoughts, do you know what you do? You tell your soul that whatever your thoughts are thinking right now that are negative are none of your business. Dear soul, mind, and body of my soul, the negative thoughts that my brain is having right now are none of my business. Why? Because they're not mine. They do not belong to me. Negative energies infiltrate the brain, infiltrate the body, but their favorite thing to infiltrate is your emotions through the mind, through negative thinking. As soon as you say your thoughts are none of my business, the thoughts upstairs in the brain are none of my business, because my soul chooses to stay calm and positive. I don't consent to those negative thoughts that are not mine. They're none of my business. They are separate from me. All of a sudden, all the future negative thoughts are void and rejected by the power of God, right? Yes, try that method. It works. When you are waking up and you feel positive, you can rely on your mind and use your mind in full force. But it's okay if you can't always rely on your mind, but you can always rely on your spirit. And you have the authority to separate the two when they're not aligned. Okay? So, back to the complex issue of keeping your options open emotionally. Keep your options open emotionally with dealing with certain people, because not all the people that you're dealing with right now have your highest regards in mind. There's a lot of people that just see you like a piece of something, and they will lure you and make you believe that they are a genuine person when they're not. So be really careful about that, because you are a very sweet personality, sweet characteristics. It doesn't matter if you're a male or a female, there's very sweet characteristics about this pile. And you tend to think that everybody else is that way, and unfortunately they are not. There are a lot of sheep. There are a lot of sheep that are hiding a costume and that are wolves underneath. What is your inner child trying to tell you, pile 4? that you need to move away from something that is no longer good for you, and your inner child is tired of seeing you suffer the consequences because it too has to suffer the consequences. And it just wants you to be calm and hold yourself. That is what makes the inner child happy, because when you are calm and you hold yourself, you allow a stream of clarity to come through you instead of confusion. Let's go ahead and end your reading. We have perspective. If you change the way you look at things, you could see everything in a brand new light that will help you get where you want to be. Okay, so that's the final message that your inner child wants to share with you. Let's do one last one. I don't know if I want to take these two. They just kind of fell and I wasn't focused. Let's reshuffle. Oh, all right. We have shedding. You are starting to outgrow your work situation. You need to set higher goals and standards. You work well in healing and medicine. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Okay, and last but not least, we've got the independent cat. Hi, independent cat, pile 5, la la la. Okay, so I'm going to pause this for just a second. Okay, I am back. So what is out of balance for the people who chose card 5, the independent cat? What is out of balance for you? When you were a child, were you quite the rebel? I feel like you were the rebel when you were a child. In a cute little playful way. I feel like you really um, maxed out your limits, where you did everything that you possibly could to the max limit until you got in trouble. Okay, so what is out of balance for pile 5 or card 5? Did I say pile? I've been saying pile, but card, pile, whatever, is your intellect. You've been struggling with your intellect, with your relationship with God, your relationship with Source, your relationship with nature, your relationship with all of the elements. And sometimes this also comes out with people, being introverted to the point where you isolate yourself and barricade yourself too much. When you are alone too much, it causes dementia. So you want to make sure that at least once a week you are socializing, and that doesn't mean going outside. It means having tea, sitting down and having tea with someone, even if it's a therapist, even if it's a support group, even if it's an acquaintance, and just getting out what's on your chest, what has been heavy weighing on your chest. But for the most part, this is associated with your relationship with nature, your relationship with how you approach animals, how you approach your own spirit, how you communicate with God or Source. And a lot of times when this card shows up, it's because you haven't been doing any of those mentioned above. And that is why you're having issues with life, because of this imbalance of you not doing that is creating imbalance in other areas of your life. The action that needs to be taken is you needing to make a decision. There's a decision that needs to be made where you feel like a lack of direction, like you're driving a vehicle and there's five different lanes and you just go from one lane to another and another and another and then another, and there's this turmoil, there's this tornado inside of you. You cannot control your emotions, so you isolate yourself, you barricade yourself to an unhealthy extent. There's also a need to clear parasites. Make sure that if you have a lot of pets or farm animals, that you are clearing the parasites that our lovely furry animals unfortunately bring. One time I fell in love with a baby chick, okay? And I tried to get all kinds of remedies for that chick. And it turned out that there were like 7 different strains that pheasants have to test for. And it's so difficult to get rid of parasites from just the pheasants alone because there's so many different strains of them, you know? So make sure that you are testing for parasites around the home and clearing them, because when there's an infestation of pet related parasites, you don't want it to. Oh, goodness. I don't like talking about this because it's very cringy. That's why I made a separate video for that. And we are talking about the inner child. And the inner child wants to tell you about the sun. The sun is very healing, and the sun actually kills parasites and dust mites. So make sure that you're getting a lot of sun. For some of you, you're having seasonal depression and you're needing to move somewhere warmer. And you don't feel like yourself because it's like you're not living in the right place. And that's why it's so important to migrate. It's so important for humanity to migrate and use their intuition. I wasn't done shuffling, but grandmother is here saying, why have you forgotten to use your intuition? Why are you so disconnected and discombobulated from yourself and your true self? Okay, and the tool that you have to attain a self-alignment is to face yourself, face your difficult emotions, face your shadow, face your darkness, sometimes even confronting the underworld to find the pieces. And you go there and then you don't find them because you realize that they are in shreds. And that triggers a resurrection. And the true meaning of Easter has to do with us experiencing a spiritual death and resurrecting and reincarnating as another being that matches who we have become. When we are different ages, baby state, kid state, teen state, pre-adult, adult, immature adult, Just because you're an adult doesn't mean you're a mature adult. There are so many people walking around in their mid-20s that are so immature. And we go through these different phases where sometimes the immature version of us has to die. And we have to become a new version of ourselves that is genuine and authentic. Let's do some poker cards for you because I feel like you're going through some complex issues. You are needing to go through these difficult emotions, pile five. So when people go through anger and depression, what do most therapists tell you? Most therapists will tell you to escape it with pharmaceuticals, right? Wrong. We have to go through those difficult emotions. We can't escape depression with medication. We have to go through that difficult emotion. We have to go through the depths of it. And sometimes it's because of seasonal depression, because you simply have an apartment that's not located in an area where it gets a lot of sunlight and it has psychological repercussions. Sometimes that is the issue, but other times it's difficult emotions that we don't want to confront. But when we go through it, we solve it and we don't have to deal with it again. So it's not good to escape. I want to make that clear. No escaping. Go through it. That's why I don't read books or really listen to therapist advice because they will always tell you to escape it. And I'm a Taoist because in Taoism, we go through everything. Because when you go through everything, that's when you have the breakthroughs. Okay, so your financial situation is being affected by your severe introversy. If you weren't so introverted by demand, you would have more abundance financially. You're letting your mental issues get you're letting your mental issues get in the way for some of you, okay? People want harmony with you. The way that people see you is they want harmony with you. They want to do business with you. They want to interact with you, and you just have to get yourself out of your bubble. And once you do get yourself out of your bubble, you won't have any regrets. You will be like, wow, I'm so glad I left the house. I'm so glad I went to that event. I'm so glad I went to that meeting. I'm so glad I went to that party. I'm so glad I went to work. You will realize that people are not to be feared, that we're not meant to come to this world to fear people, but that people are just pieces of puzzles to a masterpiece, and we're all this puzzle piece that goes together. And there's no need for you to fear social interactions. Oh, you got a lot of poker cards. You're probably the only one that got a lot of poker cards. I just feel like you're dealing with something that you can't, but I feel like there's something that's nagging at me about this pile. You're very talented at expressing yourself, okay? And there's no need to hide. There's no need to fear. The only one that you fear, like, it's like you fear your shadow. You literally fear your shadow. And because you fear your shadow, that's the reason why you're going through any kind of poverty, if you are, is because you fear your shadow. And as soon as you stop fearing your shadow, you start feeling like yourself again. Okay? Let's move on along to the career oracle. Let me put these over here for you so you can see them. Do, 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 do. I want you listening to jazz, okay? I want you listening to jazz and being jazzy, your jazzy self. Your inner child, huh? What your inner child is trying to tell you. I don't know if I want to take these because I wasn't done focusing. Yeah, no, I'm not done focusing. Your inner child wants you to make up your mind, okay? Because you not having a sense of direction is making your inner child feel anxious. Okay. We have you need work that lets you express your creative self. You could do well at writing, blogging, or a career in communication. Or remember, I was just saying that you need to be your jazzy self. I feel like you don't have to modify how you really are, you just have to modify how you think you are, how you come off. It's like you think that you come off a certain way and you don't. You need to just go back to being your jazzy self and get to brainstorming. Do you see the sunlight here? Do you see that? Let me show you that. There's some like sunlight. I don't know if you see that with my lighting by the bracelet. It's like you need some sunlight, okay? And if you are unable to move to a different apartment, find the sunlight. Find the sunlight in your apartment and bathe in it. Passage. Your current situation is a means to an end. You are making the uncertain voyage to a new world. Enjoy the discoveries as you go. There's definitely a sense of you wanting a place that gives you that more sunlight so that you do feel your jazzy self for some of you. For others of you, you already have that sun. And if you already have that sun, then you can't use seasonal depression as an excuse if you already get sunlight in your hallway. So the things that you fear, because you know how you kind of fear yourself here, how you fear your own shadow, you fear your own abilities, you fear them because the way people responded to it when you tried to show it. So let's say your favorite color is neon and you went outside and you wore neon, everyone acted strange towards you. And that's why you kind of hide it, but you need to keep it and make it your identity and name instead of caring what people think, because people are always going to respond in a negative manner no matter what you do. No matter what you do, the trolls and the haters will always prowl. So it doesn't matter if you do A, B, or C. So why does it matter to stop doing what you really want to do of people's responses? Don't you see people like that you admire? If you go through someone who you admires comments, for example, God forbid, right? But if you go through the comments of somebody who you admire on social media or Wikipedia or what is that system called? LinkedIn, you know, and you find a bunch of a trollish energy. What do you think if it's somebody doing it to somebody else? So it's the exact same scenario when someone's doing it to you. It's half the time it's bots, and half the time it's just entities, zombies. So your inner child is saying, stop caring what people think, because by you caring what people think, it's like you are trying to hide the inner child and you're ashamed of the inner child. But by you not caring what people think, you are proud of the inner child. And you nourish the inner child by being proud of yourself for expressing it the way it wants to express itself, completely dismissing other people's opinions that do not matter. Maybe you were brought up in a household where everything was about brands or everything was about materialistic standards. And then you grow up and realize that you're the most happy when things are the most simple. Minimalism, and that kind of mentality. So you're constantly learning and constantly growing, moving up. You are increasing your power and status. You may get a promotion or move to a better home. Exactly. I felt that energy too. Moving to a better home or office. You climb the ladder of success. Okay. So keep on being your jazzy self. Let's see if there's any final messages that your inner child wants to say. Is simply to speak up. Your inner child simply wants to be heard and simply wants you to speak up when it matters most and to improve your relationship with nature and all of its elements, because when we spend so much time with the screen, video games, indoors, it's like you lose parts of yourself. And when you get some sun and you go out in nature, take your pets for a walk, go on a daytime picnic trip, you regain those pieces. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Bye.